I actually spoke to Stephen King. He called me up and said, there's a script, and I'd like for you to read it in an adaptation of a short story of mine, and I did, and went and did the movie.
Okay. Show me.
Film adaptations of Stephen King's stories are a bag as mixed as it gets. His works are also arguably the most adapted. There are enough movies about Stephen King novels and short stories to make your head spin the fuck off. And you gotta also remember, he wrote under the pseudonym of Richard Bachman. And I'm sure there's people out there that still don't realize that The Running Man is a Stephen King adaptation. That should say it all. And of course, adaptations of his work are far from any stranger to the world of TV movies. Tim Curry as Pennywise in the It TV movie is absolutely timeless, and even if it has some very, very outdated special effects, The Stand is awesome. Some of my favorite acting work from everyone involved, especially Miguel Ferrer. Miguel Ferrer was also in one of the more under-discussed, and in my opinion, one of the more underrated Stephen King TV movies, 1997's The Night FLIER.
Oh, Jesus. Save me.
Ferrer plays Richard Dees, controversial ace reporter for the tabloid newspaper The Inside View. But lately, Richard has been stagnating. He hasn't been able to find a story that he can truly sink his teeth into. When a report is passed to him by his senior editor about a supposed serial killer dubbed the Night FLIER, who appears to be murdering random victims in various airports all over America, Dees, being a total cynic and a skeptic, passes on it at first. The assignment is then passed to junior reporter Catherine Blair, who actually manages to tap into police reports that do support the claim of at least 3 slayings in 3 different airports, matching the same MO. Dees is then offered the assignment once again, and because he's an asshole, accepts it because now that Catherine has done some of the legwork for him and uncovered some very interesting facts, he's actually interested in it. Wait, Miguel Ferrer is playing an asshole? Oh my god!
War. It's fantastic.
The very basics of this movie on paper is a journalist tracking what's believed to be a vampire that flies around in a small black plane, landing in airports and murdering random victims. But it is so much more than that. What this movie really is a really effective character study of just how far someone can push themselves into being desensitized, the dangers of continuously pushing the envelope, and pretty much losing yourself in the process. Richard is constantly trying to find the next big scandal, the latest awful tragedy. His senior editor even makes a crack about him not covering so many dead kids this time.
What about my picture?
Dees, we all love your pictures, but in the future, just as a rough guideline, let's keep the victims over 2 years old, okay? Now sit down. Please, I gotta show you something.
And the fucked up part of it is, he may not even realize just how bloodthirsty he's become. It's something that's slowly developed over time throughout the course of his career. He was once most likely very much like Catherine, who he mockingly refers to as Jimmy, comparing her to the naive, plucky little Jimmy Olsen from the Superman comics. And speaking of references to things, the Night FLIER refers to himself as Dwight Renfield, a direct reference to R.M. Renfield from Bram Stoker's Dracula, and Dwight Fry, the actor that played Renfield in the 1930s. Renfield was Dracula's devoted familiar, hoping to one day be turned into a vampire himself. which adds to the odd dynamic between Richard Dees and the Night Flyer. Richard, much like Dwight, has his own plane, something that comes in handy for stories that may involve international or state-by-state travel. And at the risk of sounding super pretentious, they're both bloodsuckers in their own way. Dwight Renfield literally draining the blood from people, while Richard does so in more of a metaphorical way, chasing tragedies and using the blood and carnage to fuel his career.
Dwight Renfield, you deaf?
Bastard.
Bitch.
Anything?
No. You?
Hell no.
This is a truly compelling film with fantastic acting from Miguel Ferrer. Some of the best in his whole career, if you ask me. Ferrer has proven over the years that he can be believably sleazy, genuinely funny, and outrageously villainous. A truly gifted actor that we lost far too soon.
I fucking love that guy!
An incredibly moody film. Solid work from director Mark Pavia, who only had 30 days to shoot and still managed to deliver the film a day early. Originally shot for a theatrical run, but ended up premiering on HBO instead and ending up in theaters a few months later. The character of Richard Dees also appears in another Stephen King story as a reporter, The Dead Zone. Many of the stories within the fictional tabloid magazine The Inside View are references to events in other Stephen King stories, like Children of the Corn, Lawnmower Man, and Thinner, just to name a few. While the film's cover totally spoils what the Night Flyer looks like, the reveal in the film is still fucking epic, and for those that haven't seen this film yet, I've decided to withhold showing it. It's a great creature reveal and well worth seeing the whole film for, because it really milks it effectively.
Dwight! I need to see your face! Show it to me, Dwight! Show it to me.
Highly underrated filmmaker Mark Pavia not only directed The Night Flyer in less than 30 days, but he also wrote the screenplay. Pavia doesn't have a whole lot of credits to his name, but what he has put out is quality, and I highly recommend a super tense little slasher that he wrote and directed in 2016 called Fender Bender. It's about this maniac that gets into fender benders on purpose so he can gain access to his victims' personal information and invade their homes as his masked alter ego. Now, isn't that just delightfully fucked up?